The 10 ultra-rich people who makes Elon Musk look poor. Elon Musk is today ranked as the third richest man in the world at age 52. Residing in the US, he is the co-founder and CEO of Tesla with a net worth of $189 billion. His other assets include X.com, Space Exploration Technologies, The Boring Company, and Neuralink. The only two billionaires on top of Elon Musk on the list of the richest men in the world are Bernard Arnault and Jeff Bezos. The question now is, are they the only ones who can be proclaimed to be richer than Elon, or are there others who can claim the same? Today, in Mostly Wealth, we are going to take a look at 10 people who may have not made the Forbes list of the richest and most famous, but may actually be richer than Elon in reality. In that sense, they actually make Elon Musk look poor in their exclusive company. There is a reason Elon Musk became a household name, and this is not only because of his being a rich guy. Do you know why? We'll get to this later. Meanwhile, let the countdown begin. Number 10 is Kim Jong-un. It is no secret that Kim Jong-un is a North Korean dictator cum billionaire. Born into extraordinary wealth, he is considered the world's youngest leader. Opulence, privilege, and an extensive collection of the best cars and designer clothing characterized his billionaire lifestyle. From birth, Kim Jong-un has lived a luxurious life with an education started in Switzerland and concluded in the Kim Il-sung Military University in Pyongyang. However, his true passions lie in American football, basketball, and a love for luxury goods. While his wealth is estimated to be around $5 billion, this figure is merely a reported or alleged net worth, and some speculations say that his actual wealth could be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. The significant contribution to Kim Jong-un's wealth came from the North Korean government's involvement in the international arms trade, as well as financial aid from countries like China. Kim Jong-un's opulence is reflected in his extensive collection of 17 palaces, meticulously designed and outfitted with state-of-the-art security measures, as well as islands. He also owns a vast collection of custom-made vehicles, including Mercedes-Benz S-Class, Range Rovers, Audis, and Rolls-Royces. His access to a private fleet of aircraft ranging from small crop planes to large luxury jets is another attribute of his wealthy lifestyle. Number 9 are the Rothschilds. Banking is the root industry of the wealth and influence of the Rothschild family. The family is believed to have a collective net worth of around $400 billion if sources are to be believed. The family patriarch, together with his 5 sons, established their banking empire starting in the 1800s. With their savvy financial and business acumen, they were able to build a vast network of banks and financial institutions across Europe and eventually the rest of the world. The youngest heir to the family's fortune comes in the person of David Mayer de Rothschild, a British adventurer, ecologist, and environmentalist. He is believed to have a net worth of $10 billion. The current fortune of the Rothschild family is held by a number of family members, including Jacob Rothschild, with a net worth of $5 billion, and Baroness Ariane de Rothschild, a French banker. What else could she possibly be? And board president of the Edmond de Rothschild Group since April 2019, with a net worth of around $1.5 billion. Another profoundly wealthy family member is British financier and banking heir James Rothschild, 36, who works for Rothschild Asset Management, one of the world's largest banking firms, said to have a net worth of $1.3 billion. One of the wealthiest families in history, the Rothschild family is infamous for their vast fortune, claimed to be one of the largest in the world. Number 8 is Muammar Gaddafi, who is the dictator who served the longest in Libya from the time of the Ottoman Empire? Who is the non-royal ruler who served the longest while still alive before his eventual passing? In both cases, the answer is Muammar Gaddafi. The subject of much controversy and internal unrest, his 42-year reign came to a halt in February 2011, when political unrest between military forces and civilian protesters turned to full-scale violence. Forced out of office, and after several months being on the run, Gaddafi was finally captured and executed on October 20th, 2011 by rebel forces. At the peak of his reign, Muammar Gaddafi was said to have a net worth of at least $70 billion, making him one of the wealthiest people on the planet at the time. Yet, there is a strong possibility that he was worth much more. In fact, as much as $200 billion at the time of his death. If this were true, he would have been the richest person on the planet at that moment in time by a long shot. Number 7 is the House of Saud. This is Saudi Arabia's royal ruling family. Mohammed bin Saud and his brother's descendants constituted this family. However, the actual ruling faction of the family is primarily led by Abdulaziz bin Abdul Rahman's descendants. As of 2020, an estimate of the total net worth of the whole family was pegged at around 100 billion US dollars. If this were true, it would make the House of Saud the richest monarchy and family across the globe. However, $1.4 trillion is the estimate given by some for the royal family's wealth. Their ownership of Saudi Aramco, as well as vast assets in the form of fossil fuel reserves, make them not only the wealthiest family in the world, but also the wealthiest in recorded history. Number 6 is Bashar al-Assad, the Syrian president. Since 2000, Bashar al-Assad succeeded his father, Hafez al-Assad, who, in turn, ruled Syria since 1971. There were early hopes of an era of democratic reform and economic revival during his presidency. But alas, it would not be so, as Bashar al-Assad simply continued his father's authoritarian rule. Despite moves in London, Switzerland, and the US to freeze his regime's assets, al-Assad was said to have been able to amass about $1.5 billion, both for his family and close associates. However, this amount seems to be underestimated, as experts proclaim his true net worth to be around $122 billion. Many of al-Assad's assets are said to be held in Russia, Hong Kong, and a range of offshore tax havens to dilute the risk of seizure. There is even a platoon of companies and trusts that have been deployed to disguise assets that actually belong to members of the Syrian regime. We're now halfway through our list. What do you think so far? Are these men really richer than Elon Musk? Share your thoughts in the comment section of this video. Number 5 is Pablo Escobar, dubbed as the King of Cocaine and the founder and sole leader of the Medellin cartel. Pablo Escobar was a Colombian drug lord, narco-terrorist, and politician, amassing an estimated net worth of 155 billion US dollars at his prime. He is truly one of the richest criminals in the annals of history. The cocaine trade into the United States in the 1980s and early 1990s was a monopoly for his drug cartel. Escobar maintained numerous residences and safe houses, including the Hacienda Nápoles, a luxury house containing a colonial house, a sculpture park, and a complete zoo with animals from various continents. Amongst the animals in the zoo were elephants, exotic birds, giraffes, and hippopotamuses. He also owned a home in the US, a mere 6,500 square foot, 4-bedroom estate, pink waterfront mansion that can be found in 5,000 860 North Bay Road in Miami Beach, Florida. Situated about 35 kilometers from Cartagena, a large Caribbean vacation spot on Isla Grande, the biggest in a group of the 27 coral cluster islands making up Islas del Rosario, is likewise under the ownership of Escobar. Number 4 is Hosni Mubarak. Hosni Mubarak was an Egyptian politician and military officer who served as the 4th president of Egypt from 1981 to 2011. Mubarak and his family were reported to be worth up to 70 billion US dollars garnered from corruption, bribes, and illegitimate business activities. The money was said to be spread out in various bank accounts, including some in Switzerland and the UK, with some invested in foreign property. However, that outlandish seeming $70 billion figure has now been dwarfed by a new estimate of the Mubarak family's fortune. The Washington Post's investigative team, being privy to documents published by top Egyptian lawyers, now claims that the former president's clan may have $700 billion stashed away in cash, gold, and other state-owned valuables, including 75 tons of Egyptian gold held by the U.S. Federal Reserve. Number 3 is Ali Abdullah Saleh, a Yemeni politician. Ali Abdullah Saleh served as the first president of the Republic of Yemen. His reign began from the Yemeni unification on May 22, 1990, and ended with his resignation on February 25, 2012, following the Yemeni Revolution. With his money being spread across multiple accounts in Europe and abroad, his net worth was estimated to be $126 billion. Dispersed in as many as 20 countries, this wealth included properties, shares, gold, and other valuables, not forgetting about the cash. As to where the funds originated, it is believed to be partly from his presidential illegal endeavors. This is in particular related to gas and oil agreements, where he reportedly accepted money bribes in exchange for companies being granted exclusive rights to gas and oil prospecting in Yemen. Number 2 is Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is a Russian politician and former intelligence officer who is the president of Russia. Reports suggest that Putin's personal wealth stand at a staggering $400 billion. He owns 20 houses, 700 cars, 58 aircraft and helicopters, and a $716 million plane. He has also been linked to a $1.4 billion palace on the Black Sea and a $4 billion Monaco apartment. There are those who claim his real estate holdings are in the billions. This includes a castle-like mansion on the outskirts of Moscow, twice the size of Buckingham Palace. I can almost see the British raising their eyebrows. On top of all this, the famous Panama Papers revealed a network of secret offshore deals and loans worth $2 billion, pointing to Putin in 2016. Number 1 is Mansa Musa, a 14th century West African ruler who was also the 9th Mansa of the Mali Empire. Mansa Musa was responsible for Mali's reaching its territorial peak. Musa's reign is often regarded as the zenith of Mali's power and prestige. Historians boast of his being the richest person to have ever lived. His wealth would be worth about US $400 trillion today. Almost half of the old world's gold was accounted for by the Empire of Mali during Musa's reign, and all of it belonged to Musa, being the king. Thus, Musa had almost unlimited access to the most highly valued source of wealth in the medieval world. Major trading centers that traded in gold and other goods were also in his territory, and he garnered wealth from this trade. Earlier, I said that Elon Musk became a household phenomenon. He achieved global fame not just because of his being the CEO of Tesla, but more because of his acquisition of the social media company Twitter, which he decided to rename as X. This really created havoc in the social media world, and suddenly everybody knew who Elon Musk is. This puts to an end our review of the 10 people in the world richer than Elon Musk, and this could surely change the way you look at him, possibly with less adoration and more realism. There are surely more fascinating people than him, who may not be admirable though, but definitely more intriguing.